of service or effort. A prize is a thing given to a winner to mark an outstanding achievement. So in the name of God, there should be no spirit of ugly competition. We can't celebrate a day like this with people who are aggrieved. It's a thing given to a winner. There must be a way of selecting a winner to mark an outstanding achievement. And so, I looked at a book called Genesis, chapter 1. When God created the things we can see and the things we cannot see, he or she gave himself an award after 6 days. Because Genesis 1 verse 3 says, when God looked at what he had done, the mountains and the seas and human beings and everything, this book says God looked at what he had done. All of it. So, usuku olunjengolu remind that day when God assessed, evaluated himself and looked and said, wow. So for me, in the name of God, this is a wow moment in the department, in the Eastern Cape. That's why I agreed to come. I don't like dull moments. I live my life by looking at spaces where there are wow moments. Before I close, therefore, I guess, in the name of God, the awards are not given to people because they look good. It's not about a beauty contest. It is not an award because someone is related to someone. It should not be an award because someone is in a school with this kind of ceiling. It should be an award even to someone who teaches under a tree. In the name of God, this should be a way of saying, we recognize your double effort. And if for some of us who will not be awarded, it should be a way of saying, you say, wow, or the formation of the clouds. We are praying by doing this, actually, for the Eastern Cape to come up, to move towards excellence. We don't start with resources. We start with this vision of excellence. Imagine the sub-A teacher who looked at me in Willowvale, where I was born. she had this honor of seeing me becoming bishop. And she knew. I went to her to give her an award, a recognition, because she didn't know how far I could go in life, but she doubled her efforts. I don't have time. But I always say, one time in 1988, I preached at Oxford Methodist Church in England. And I said to them, I did not learn English from a former white school. I learned it from the Transkei, and my teacher said, Andile, stand up, what are you doing? And I said, I am standing up. And she said, class, what is Andile doing? He is standing up. She did not tell us about continuous tenses and stuff. By the time she told us that when you do it, then it's present continuous, I knew what she meant. And if these awards are anything for me, MEC, they should recognize those who are dead. There are many teachers who have done exceedingly well, who have died without receiving an award. I conclude and say, whether you are going to be given a pencil or a cup of tea or a bicycle, take it with a gracious heart, because you don't deserve it. You are here because God has given you this energy, and the department is saying, move on. Let us pray. And so, Lord, as we gather, we give you thanks for this day, a beautiful winter day, bright, fresh from you. Lord, we have come from many places. Thank you for protecting us from dangers that we saw and those we didn't see. And say, in your name, Lord, I claim this space. May your blood encircle this environment. Let there be peace in this congregation. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. For those who speak, loosen their tongues, that they speak words of healing. Lord, we pray for every teacher in the province. We pray for those who are lonely in rural spaces. We pray that you will continue to be with them. Lord, in your mercy, deliver us from the past and lead us into the future. May your spirit dwell in this place. May this school, by us gathering here, be blessed. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers. Amen.
Thank you very much, Bishop, for the opening devotions. When you sang that song with that chant, I looked at the audience, and it reminded me of funerals that we attend. And the chant that is used is not familiar to the chants that you are used to. you uhamishe up until the end of the song. Uyoyibamba le chant on the last verse, but unfortunately sayiphela. Ndikhe ndayisola le chant ubingathi ifuna usondela, but it was managed because there are a number of educators here that are choristers. So that's the reason why they could just pick it up nicely and move forward. But you could see ubana ya khona izinto ezishekele ngasemva abantu abashekelayo ngasemva. I could sense it as a person who loves music. Thank you very much, Bishop. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity and welcome everybody that is gathered here today to celebrate excellence. When the former Premier of the Eastern Cape, the Honorable Noxolo Kivit, launched the Home of Legends in 2012, the reason was to inculcate the culture of excellence that our forebears and the legends that came before us in the Eastern Cape cherished. And one of the things that they cherished is excellence. When we called ourselves as a province, we are the home of legends. We have legends across the board. I think in 2021, the Premier acknowledged one of our legends, Reverend John Knox Bok, was an intellectual, was an educator, was a man of the cloth, was a chorister and a composer. That's who we are in the Eastern Cape. We are multifaceted. And if you look at all these legends, there's one virtue, it's excellence, that runs across all of them, across the different sectors. This year we're celebrating Chief Maqom, the son of King Nika, who fought a number of battles and in fact wars against colonialism in this province. When they were moved between Fish River San and Kiskama River to create a buffer zone in that area, as the white settlers were pushing the Xhosa people that were staying beyond the Fish River, they left them between Fish River as well as Kiskama River. At some point, they felt that our people are posing a threat to them. They pushed them further beyond the Kiskama River. And that's where your kingdom, Kadneka, was placed. And it's Chief Maqoma and his brother, Charlie, who decided to go back across the Kiskama River to establish them again in that space that was a buffer zone. And the Premier felt that this year we must celebrate that bravery of Chief Maqoma. I'm talking about our history as the province, what we have produced across the different sectors. Because Eastern Cape was the hub of education in this country, and the continent for that matter. A number of presidents that we have produced through this university called University of Fort Hare came from this province. President of Lesotho, President of Botswana, President of Zimbabwe. Our presidents, they also went through that university. The first Chief Justice of Uganda came from here, from this university. In essence, we are the hub of education, and we have a responsibility to restore that glory as the Eastern Cape. And I dare say that we are on the path to that restoration, which reminds me of what Tatu Nelson Mandela said, I think in 1994 or 1995, when he first attended the OAU summit. After South Africa was kicked out, in fact, it has never been part of the OAU. And he was attending it as the first black president. And it was held in Tunis, in Tunisia. Nearer to Tunis, there are ruins of a city called Carthage, which was destroyed by Romans in those fights between North Africa and Europe. And at some point, Romans were defeated by Africans. And they were so advanced in terms of civilization. And Romans took a decision that if we manage to defeat these Africans, we must destroy the city of Carthage. Which means we must destroy that civilization so that they've got no source of inspiration. And finally, they defeated the Africans and destroyed the city of Carthage. When Nelson Mandela spoke in that OAU summit, he said, we need to ensure that the city of Carthage is reborn. Let's restore the city of Carthage. And I dare say, even here, MEC, let's restore that glory of the Eastern Cape, which was the leader in education. Wonke umuntu wethambeka azofunda apha. Baphume bebantu bambi. Babethambeka beze apha. Abanye bangabisagoduka nogoduka. Babe the permanent residents of the Eastern Cape, but they came here just to study. So in those few words, you are all welcome. Let's celebrate this excellence. And we are on the upward swing as the Eastern Cape. And sooner or later, we are going to walk into that hall of fame as one of the provinces in the top 3. And that we are going to attain. Good people, you're all welcome. I know it's cold out there, but if you feel a bit hot, you can remove your jacket. So I'm stating this because ungatshiswa ijazi kuba usithi uqwase khangasitsha atsho uba masizikhulule. Ningazikhulula ijazi uba nifilishane hot. Kodwa ke niyazi bana ayongxaki yami ke into ogula kwenu because kusebusika. Thank you very much, colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. Without much ado, can I get something? Can I get something? As we just to uplift the spirits of the CFO as she comes forward. CFO ke uyasuphakama ama not bagqiba ingoma. Ufuna uphakama sosemoyeni.
I just wanna feel good every day. I wanna wear a smile upon my face. I wanna feel the joys of the day. I wanna feel alive in every moment. Said I won't waste time on feeling blue. I won't waste time on things I cannot change. I'm gonna live this day as best as I can, doing everything that feels right, singing la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. I just wanna feel good every day. I wanna wear a smile upon my face. I wanna feel the joys of the day. I wanna feel alive in every moment. Said I won't waste time on feeling blue. I won't waste time on things I cannot change. I'm gonna live this day as best as I can, doing everything that feels right, singing la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Thank you so much, Program Director. I just want to appreciate the opportunity that I've been afforded this morning. Okwamke is just to acknowledge our guests today. Before I do that, I just want to assure this room that this day was made possible by the Lord because of His love. We understand that even the Lomcimbi wanamhlanje, it's based on that love of God, understanding as well as even the awardees. It's because of the love that they've shown in their work that they are here today. Program Director, allow me therefore to acknowledge the guests to the Honorable MEC, Honorable Gade. The first that I want to acknowledge is our Honorable Mrs. Tikane Qotiwe. We honor you, ma'am, for being part of us. We also want to acknowledge our business partners, starting with Ms. Mbeche from Kasibu. Welcome, ma'am. We also want to welcome and acknowledge the presence of Mr. Tsengwa from the MCI. We also want to also acknowledge the presence of Ms. Bernice Talana from Oxford. Thank you so much. We also want to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Vuisile Gogo from Old Neutral. We also want to acknowledge our business partners as well, coming from Harry Printers. We welcome you. We also want to welcome and acknowledge the presence of Keith from Libone Printers. We welcome you, sir. We also do have our stakeholders amongst us. We want to also welcome Mr. Dukwe from Tsadu. We also want to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Benge Lola from SADU as well. Mr. Tlomatane from the SACE, the Organization of Teachers. We also want to acknowledge the presence of our Education Advisory Council that is led by Professor Jadezweni. Welcome, sir. Also, amongst us, we do have our clergy. We've seen our Bishop Mete. We acknowledge your presence, sir. Also, our Rev Chingwa. We welcome you, sir. Again, I want to acknowledge the presence of the managers of the Department of Education in the Eastern Cape, all the DDGs, all the chief directors amongst us, the district directors, CMC heads, the curriculum heads as well. We acknowledge your presence and we thank you that you've made this day possible. Lastly, I want to also acknowledge all the awardees from different schools, all the schools that are amongst us today, and also all the individual teachers that will be receiving their awards this morning. Thank you so much. Over to you, Program Director.
A very big round of applause for the CFO. Thank you very much, CFO. If good people, there are people that have not been acknowledged, we'll continue with that as we proceed with the program. I'll now request the acting HOD, Dr. Nuku, to come forward and give us the purpose and the background leading to this historic event. I know when we are in halls like this, we usually use these halls not for this purpose, where there are round tables. By classroom arrangement, and usually there's somebody lying here, and there's always this item. I'm sure he's going to do something like that, Dr. Nuku, to give us the purpose of the day and also outline very clearly what has led to this historic day. Over to you, Doc.
Thank you, Shubi. Our elated program director, our honorable MEC, Honorable Tikana Kochiwe, the clergy that is here present, our stakeholders, business partners, our business partners, the officials of the department, and our teachers, good morning. Colleagues, briefly, this is the vision of our honorable MEC, who has deemed it necessary that we must have a function of this nature to really appreciate our teachers. Our teachers who on a daily basis give it all to improve the academic and holistic development of our children in schools. Teachers who, through their resilience, are working tirelessly in schools. Therefore, through this function, our MEC, Honorable God, recognizes the importance or the centrality of teachers in the whole teaching and learning environment which many people summarily call it as didactics. Now, teachers who understand that teaching learners is not a hobby, but a commitment. You know, one book written by Frank Ginott, when indicating the centrality of a teacher in the teaching and learning situation, he says, I'm quote, "As a teacher, I possess tremendous power to make the child's life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or instrument of inspiration. And it is always my attitude that determines whether the child will learn or not learn," close quote. Therefore, the MEC or regard understands perfectly the centrality of a teacher in the whole teaching and learning situation. That is why we are here. Our MEC recognizes our teachers who continue to provide quality education to our children against all the odds, against all the negative utterances or whatever negates effective and quality teaching and learning. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, let us join our MEC in this august occasion. But quickly to say that this function would not have been a success without the collaborative working between the department and business partners, between the department and social partners, between the department and civil society. Now, the belief of the MEC is that if we all rally together for this common purpose of advancing quality public education, we will succeed, because in 1967, O.R. Tambo once said, I'm quote, "There is no victory without mass participation," close quote. So therefore, if we participate as this collective for the common purpose of actually motivating our teachers to do more than what they have done, surely success is certain. With those few words, colleagues, I think if there is something I have not said which was expected that I should say, I'm very sorry. Thank you so much.
A big round of applause for Doc. Thank you very much, Acting HOD, for painting the picture. We are honoring people who are the representatives of this noble profession, which is the mother of all other professions. I was arguing Patiswa now Bishop. Exactly what you said, Bishop, that educators that taught us, they were able to make us to read and write our languages in the first year. I don't know what happened, but because Stuart readers. Why no A E I O U apekwekwini. Chapter 1 ngusasa. Chapter 2 ngulala. Chapter 3 ngumama. Chapter 4 nguyi. chapter 6 nguz, chapter 7 ngug, chapter 8 nguh, iqhubeke chapter 10 nguj, ijaja ligazi. Nyuke ke to chapter 16 nguk, chapter 17 nguk, chapter 18 ngup, chapter 19 ngup, ph, chapter 20 ngut, chapter 21 ngut. I'm not going to tell you when was it, but it's about 5 decades ago. But their ability to make us to understand even the cliques and all that. So towards chapter 30, you then introduced the cliques. Onq, onqa, onqa, onch. Zonke za sounds, the complex. We were able to write all those Xhosa words at the end of the year. There was no grade R. There was no pre-grade R. We were lumped into one classroom and the educator will then create his or her own pre-grade R, grade R, and grade 1 in one classroom. And would graduate from pre-grade R kuthiwa ngu-eyomncinci to eyophakathi to eyomkhulu. And only those younger ones would remain go pre-grade R and your grade R at the end of the year. It's because of age. But those who are bright amongst them would be taken to grade R and to grade 1. That's the commitment of the educators we had. And there are still those educators who are so committed even today. But the studies that have just been released now are a bit worrying. And we need to do something about it. And I know that the department has got the reading strategy that we have launched. We are the only province that has launched that. But we just need to ensure that that is implemented to address the challenges that we have now at that level. I want to acknowledge the presence of Ms. Mbocha from Naptosa, Itimam. Mr. August Butandi from Sanase. Yes, Butandi. Mr. Buyana from ELRC, akahambi ngedwa kuhamba nabantu abakhulu bapha, uhamba no chair, no deputy chair, Mr. Koyo, ongu-chair wala ELRC. ELRC is here. And izojonga nje uba itishala zabo baziphatheke kakuhle. Ayizangaxoxa zingxaki. Izo support educators zayo ELRC. Thank you very much, colleagues. Without much ado, let me now request that we get to our messages of encouragement. Apha ke kubhalwe labor representative. Andihamba ithetha uthithini ke loo nto, akhange kuthiwa thieves. Abhalanga plural. So, but I would request that labor representative mayisondele ngaphambili izosinika a message of support. Masimbetheleni izandla uchairperson weSATU weprovince, Mr. Dukwe. A big round of applause for Mr. Dukwe.
Thank you, Program Director. I was warned, Program Director, that I must not shout a month because I'm representing many and I have a great. Viva the best teachers of the Eastern Cape, Viva. I didn't say a month. Thank you very much. Good morning, colleagues. You know you will shiver when you come towards your management. We greet the Honorable MEC, we greet the HOD and the collective. But I wanted to say, in the early 90s, when we were involved in sport transformation, we were in a situation where we came together as different races. So there was one fellow who was a coordinator. He was from the former Modesty schools, he was a white guy. Then he was about to give a presentation on how to run athletics. Unfortunately, Program Director on the day, he said, because his principals was inside the room, it was not allowed in his culture to talk in front of his former principals of a grade 1 when he was in grade 1. So also myself, I nearly didn't come up. In short, Program Director, we are saying as labor, this day is a very important day in the lives of the teachers of the Eastern Cape. We are from humble beginnings. And indeed, as you have indicated, that this is a province of legends. I saw one honorable member wearing a slumber jacket or a fleece top written the province of the legends without necessarily naming the province. I now know that that province is the Eastern Cape. Can we clap for the province of the legends? Thank you very much. Utata Bishop Tutu once said, do your little bit of things, paraphrasing of course. It is this little bit of things that overwhelm the nation or the world. Indeed, we are meeting here coincidentally on the day in which the Organization of African Unity was established, whose objective, or in some of the objectives, was the decolonization of Africa. In the past 5 years or so, we've been talking about the decolonization of education in our country. We think, therefore, that this occasion might not have come at the correct time. We want to say to our teachers and our parents, of course, our stakeholders, that fine, we may be number 6, we may be number 7, we may be number 8, we may even be number 10 if there's a 10th province. But what we pride ourselves on is the fact that as the Eastern Cape, we presented a matric class of plus minus 98,000 against, without talking foul about other provinces, the four Muslim provinces, against a province that might be number 1 with 15,000 learners or candidates. A cohort that may be even lesser than OR Tambo Coastal District, if I'm correct. 98,000. It's a very big cohort. So, what you are saying to the Department of Education is that keep up the good work. because this will motivate teachers like Bishop Ebechilo. Like a young fellow was born in 1997 called Apiwe Kaba, who died whilst coming from the evening classes, was murdered actually, while coming from the evening classes, teaching the grade 12 learners. One is not going to take long, program director, except appreciating, of course, that this occasion must continue and continue until such time we no longer do any teacher hours, because most of our learners would have done well at that particular point in time. Lastly, I want to quote a fellow who has got a funny name, because this fellow is Forrest. His name is Forrest. And then the surname is Witchcraft. And the other one is called Joe Machin. He says, every child should be having a caring adult in their lives. And that is not always a biological parent or a family member. Oftentimes, it is a teacher, close quote. Secondly, the children of any nation are its future. A country, a movement, a person that does not value its youth and children does not deserve its future. So we are here because our core business is the children of the Eastern Cape and, of course, children of South Africa. We appreciate the Eastern Cape for the fact that it has achieved 77.3%. And we so wish that this year will be 80% and more. And through this extrinsic motivation, we so believe, MEC, that we will do better in 2023. Thank you very much.
A big round of applause. Thank you very much, Mr. Dugwe, for the powerful message representing the labor unions in the province. If you listened to Dr. Nuku and you have listened to Mr. Dugwe, kune quotations mospa kwezi speeches apha, kune quotations senjuba uba una quotation senjuba kawusiza senjuba ungamna stress. Don't feel threatened because you don't have a swai of a quotation. Don't feel threatened. We asikho ku-exam, want a message. Let me request the representative from SGB associations to come forward and give us a message of support. Is there any association of SGBs? Yes. A big round of applause.
There's music in the air. It makes your sorrow go. Let the music take you there. Far from the world, you know. You can feel it when you sing. Then you know love. There's a joy in everything. Everything, everything. We're made for love. If ever someday, someday, you come to know this song, I'll show you the way. Your heart can come along.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. August.
Thank you, sir. MEC. Ublo MEC. Sure. Thank you. Let me say, all protocol observed. I'm sometimes not sure whether it's protocol observed or deserved or reserved, but anyway, protocol. Okokuqala manje ndichaze into yoba kwi-discrimination up, I've got no access to the stage. And the organizers next time must ensure in Doba there's accessibility. Ucheke Ushlubi, don't come to this stage if you don't have a quotation. Without mentioning any names, kula tafile sikuyo phaya. Kuthiwe Hlubi kuyacaca uba wawunqaya esikolweni. They say, hey man, uyacula zonke ezanto ezi. Colleagues, let me preface what I'm going to say. I'm going to be very short. Another friend of mine used to say, you must be as short and as brief as a miniskirt. Imfuchane, but it covers all the essential parts. You know, there's an Italian fellow, when it defines a teacher, and I like this quotation, uti, a good teacher is like a candle that consumes itself in order to light the way for others to succeed. That quotation for me resonates. Bishop Namza quote. Who Bishop? Bishop Andil. That quotation for me resonates perfectly with Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 and 16. You are the light of the world. Your light must shine before people so that they will see the good things you do and praise God the Father. The quote right, Bishop? Goes. I specifically going to, for obvious reasons, talk about accessibility, and especially for
the learners with special needs in education. That's my passion. What worries me, MC, and all the parents and principals that are here, is in 2001, a white paper 6 on inclusive education was released by Kada Asnamali. But up to now, it is now 2023, that white paper is still collecting dust, and very little has done about inclusive education. I always say, MEC and all the teachers that are here, parents, you know, these children who are placed in these special schools, whether for the physically disabled and so on, they stay there, but during holiday, they're taken back to the community. And in the community, there are no special streets. They are play with other children as well. Now, briefly, colleagues, what is stopping us after so many years to still have special schools? And I was saying to myself and talking to other colleagues that very soon sign language is going to be one of the official languages of this country. It is not going to be the 12th, but when you say it's going to be the 12th, it means you are relegating it to the lower ranks. It's going to be one of the 12. Yes, you know, good. There's something I want to change here today, to tell today. We are not people living with a disability. I saw C4S. They're not a disease. It's neither contagious or infectious. We have a disability. We're not living with it. Yazi enye into mphathiswa kuba ngaba sinohamba apha eOxford, 12 of us, I mean apha eOxford, 4 or 5 of us, niyabuzana uba bekho ntoni xa bekuthini xa nihamba ninamba yi-10 phaya asibuze uba bekho ntoni. Hlukana naloo nto ke bekukho nto siyahamba qha. Yes. Colleagues, I want to implore and urge the Department of Education and the schools there, the principals there, that there are many things that, are counter to access. I'm going to mention just a few. One is the environment. Like now, I cannot go up there. So then you find that now, even the way the schools are built now in this century, there's no access. In 2017, there was a mentor in one of the schools where I started teaching in 1972, apha eWangalethu. I could not get to the toilet because esisilahla esi asikwazi ukungena kula toilet. Therefore, the very environment inhibits accessibility. The other inhibiting factor here is curriculum delivery, the mode of curriculum delivery. Let's look at some of the things I'm going to mention here. As Ndoba, accessibility becomes, or inclusivity. One, the negative attitudes. Two, and stereotyping differences. In my other life, I was a teacher at St. John's College in Amtata. 1973, 74, and so on. Kwakukwindwana phaya, who were working on crashes. That's not a special school. Uhlubuya uzazi ntwanezi. Kwakunto kuthiwa uli desert phaa udlala isoka phaya. Ezi ntwana ngozihamba kweza crashes. Used to play with other boys at desert. There were no special schools. The other thing is the inflexible curriculum. The third one, inappropriate languages or the language of learning and teaching. The Eastern Cape is the first province to introduce, this multi-teaching and bilingual education. Colleagues, you won't believe, without divulging my age, U-A namqala ngo-1954. Uthi yondoni. That was the very first year. Nam ke hlubi ngo-53 ndandisenza u-A yomncinci. Zange ndimenze ophakathi. I went straight through u-A yomkhulu. Sasifunda ngesiXhosa. Right up to pasa kwam u-6 1961 ndandiqala udibano nomlungu eHilton ngo-62 ndisenza uForm 1. But what was important there is that ngoku sasifunda ngesiXhosa andimi makufunda ukufunda ngesiXhosa kodwa cognitively we develop because ii-concepts zisibambe ngesiXhosa. Eastern Cape is the first province to do that. Asitethi ngesiXhosa kodwa siba khona nesiXhosa kutolikwe code switching. Iqhwabile in Eastern Cape. There are so many things then. Inappropriate communication, inaccessible and inadequate support services. These psychosocial support services are very important. The non-recognition and non-involvement of parents. Sayiphinda le ndawo. The non-recognition and non-involvement of parents in education. Yabantwana babo. You know that until very lately, the Department of Education recognizes unions more than parents. Ayingobantwana be-unions aba, ngabantwana bethu aba. Sithi ababili besihla benyuka sisenza abantwana, ngabethu abantwana. So I really appreciate what the MEC's vision has been. And we're the first province, the first MEC to recognize the teachers. Lastly, as I sit down, Uthi Angela Merkel, the former Chancellor of Germany, when the state lawyers and state doctors were complaining that the teachers are paid more than them, she gave a simple answer. What? How can I pay you ngokulinganayo with the people who made you? Ndiyacela ke mphathiswa mani, ezi tishala mazibhatalwe ngaphezu kogqirha. And ke if you pay them more, bazakwazi nosivusela. I thank you.
A big round of applause for Mr. August. Former principal at Buntingfield High School. Thanda kuyothatha abantwana from other schools ababadlala kakuhle ibhola bayogcwala pha. Thank you very much, Mr. August, for that message. Let me acknowledge the presence of the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Ms. Honorable Mpumelelo Saziwa. Khawuthi nje, Honorable Chairperson. Let me now proceed to the Eastern Cape Advisory Council, Education Advisory Council, Professor Chadezwe. A round of applause for Prof.
Thanks, Program Director. I must confess, even before I greet the MEC, that ndizekanye nkosi anako dishi. There should not be any expectation of any, because khange ndibe nayo. I wish to greet the MECs of our province, the chair of the Portfolio Committee. Hey, maze bolene ngangelizwe mna maza ndiyayibona ke ngoku se head I Portfolio Committee for Education. Maze bolene pofko I pause no pause kakhulu. Honored guests of the department, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues out there, teachers, and all other invited guests. I really want to also just join the program director on the Home of Legends issue. Just to remind us that it was in this month of May, but 1835, that the Supreme Royal Aristocrat, King of Amaxhosa, Hintsa Azanzolo, departed on the waters of Ngabach, where he was shot at the back by Captain Southey. The important thing about that event is that it is what pushed Unkosi Jongusumbo Makuma to avenge that death. and the battle took place on the mountains of Amatol. And for the first time in Africa, for the first time, the British armies were defeated. And that is why this year we will have to honor Unkosi Chongumsobomvu Maqoma. As if that was not enough, Harry Smith and Benjamin Deben were fired by the British government as governors, and they had to go back to England. Lest we forget, that is very, very important. And it so happened that then this event coincided with that kind of incident. And there's one other thing that I always like to share, MEC, in your absence there, and I hope the Chief of Staff will pick this up. This is the only province or the only place in Africa that has many forts than any part of the African continent. I think we have forts up to about 15, if I'm not mistaken. And that demonstrates the intensity of the kind of battles that were fought in this province. And it's something that we need at some point to find, to creatively recognize and use it to our advantage. I wish in my capacity as also a teacher to say, we're very happy that the teachers are recognized, are rewarded, because I think the dignity and the image of teaching is gradually, going down from time to time. And I think events like this are assisting us to reclaim our noble profession. Last but not least, the least, MEC, and I'm happy you're coming in. Sorry, ungawi, because in the Theta land. Honestly, I wish to state this publicly, and also wishes to be scrutinized. The norms and standards that are used national are a fake for ranking provinces. There's no way that we could use percentages and when we promote access and not talk numbers and quality. And on this, MEC, I humbly request on behalf of everyone here that those norms and standards be revisited, and I can assure you the picture will change. You cannot compare somebody or a province with numbers less than OR Tambo with the Eastern Cape that has numbers 15 times that size and say that is fair ranking. It's not fair. South Africa talks about transformation, and in our transformation agenda, we talk about numbers. Numbers are very important. Even in higher education, we look at numbers. Whoever is having, because there are universities there that have numbers that are even less than Umtata campus of Walter Sisulu. And that is not fair comparison. So I so wish you can take this to the interministerial, meetings, so that I think ranking of provinces when it comes to metric results, at least embed numbers and quality. Because I don't want to run away from quality, but it can't just be percentage. Because even here, if we award people because you have 100% but you have 10 learners, it is unfair. When there's somebody with 95% and 250 learners, that is not a comparison. 100%, 10 learners, 95%, 250 learners. Come on. That's very unfair. So those things moving forward, we would like to put on your desk, MEC, so that they are recognized. Otherwise, we really encourage this kind of event. We so wish our private partners continue to support us so that we can do even better next year and many, many other years to come. Thank you very much.
Call a phone and ask number. Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. The former soccer player of Ngise Real Hunters. You'll forgive me, ladies and gentlemen. I've been around for quite some time. I've seen. Let me now proceed and call upon the South African Council of Educators, who says a representative to come forward and give us a message. A big round of applause for SACE.
The Honorable MEC for the Eastern Cape Department of Education, Honorable Kade, the top management of the Department of Education in the province, the entire leadership in the Department of Education in this province, dignitaries, teacher organizations, the Provincial Education Labor Relations Council, parents, ladies and gentlemen, and above all, our Ds, the South African Council for Educators brings fraternal greetings to you all. Program Director, we feel highly honored for being afforded as the South African Council for Educators the opportunity of being part of this extremely important event. When we received this invitation yesterday, one immediately communicated this to our Chief Executive Officer, who really would have loved to be part of this, but because of the time factor, she could not make it. However, she sent a message of support. She has indicated that we would want to appreciate the effort that has been taken by the Department of Education and the entire community which is part of this. She has sent her congratulatory words to the Eastern Cape Department of Education and our Ds for this massive teacher recognition ceremony. As the regulatory body of the teaching profession, Council will always make sure to discharge its mandate and responsibilities by making sure that Council registers educators who are fit for purpose. And we are doing that, amongst others, by making sure that we provide for the registration of educators in this country. We set and maintain the professional teaching standards, as well as setting, promoting, and maintaining the code of professional ethics. Equally, we make sure that our teachers continue to be lifelong learners. We make sure that teachers participate in continuing professional teacher management system. By so doing, we are saying educators who comply with Council's laid down code of professional ethics, educators who at all times practice our professional teaching standards, and educators who recognize that teaching involves lifelong learning, as such participate in the system I've just mentioned, which we acronym as CPTD, Continuing Professional Teacher Development. Honorable MEC says commends the hard work that your department, teachers, parents, learners, and all other role players have put in ensuring that there is improvement, progress, and success in the department's performance. And above all, acknowledging, recognizing, and appreciating the good work that teachers continue to do out there in our schools. This event bears testimony to that the province has teachers who go beyond their call of duty. Teachers who have shown that they can overstretch themselves for the sake of their learners. Teachers who spend sleepless nights preparing the best for their learners. Equally, we are saying to the awardees, well done. You deserve the best. Somebody once said, my teacher gave me the best present ever by believing in me. In conclusion, Program Director, as Council, we would like to indicate to this sitting that as the regulatory body of the teaching profession, we would have appreciated to have known of this ceremony in time so that we do as we did in the National Teaching Awards. What we did, we were provided with the names of the awardees. We made a check against all of them in as far as our register is concerned. We would have loved that we do the same. That is, as I've indicating, that to this sitting, we are the regulatory body of the teaching profession, and as such, we find it very important for all our Ds to be verified against Council standards. That is, checking all our Ds, whether registered with the South African Council for Educators, their cleanliness in terms of criminal records through convictions, as well as their participation in continuing professional teacher development system. Kindly understand that in this context, we are not suggesting in any way that the current awardees are not in good standing, but it was important to have verified their status. It would have been best if we cleared them of compliance. Once more, thank you for the job well done. Your hard work, dedication, will never pass unnoticed. Keep up the good work and continue doing us proud. Thank you.
Another big round of applause for Stacey. Thank you very much, sir, for that beautiful message. Nithanda nalando yomvethisho. I like the part you're vetting. Kanti kanti sa award abantu abangengotishala ncam. Thank you very much, sir, for that beautiful message. I'll now call upon the Provincial Education Labor Relations Council representative to come forward and give us a message of support. I also want to acknowledge the presence in our midst of the Deputy Speaker of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature, Honorable Ulibo Koboshan. Thanks, Deputy Speaker, for gracing this occasion. ELRC representative.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Honorable MEC for Education, Mr. Kate, Honorable MEC, Ms. Tikana Klotiwe, Deputy Speaker for Provincial Legislature, HOD, the clergy, business partners, leaders of the various stakeholders, leaders of the union, most importantly, the awardees. Allow me this morning to greet you all in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. only education for the sake of recording high passes, but the education of the highest caliber. Close quote. Program Director, over the past 3 years, education required a radical intervention to ensure that learning and teaching continued despite unforeseen challenges that the world was confronted with. The imperceptible warriors who ensured that education was not lost were our teachers. The strides made in education during these tumultuous times could not have been possible without the unwavering dedication and perseverance of our educators. The work of the Council, which is the well-being of teachers and in turn to improve the quality of education in public schools. We therefore remain passionate about celebrating teachers and their influence in the society. To our teachers that we are honoring today, know that your endless toil to ensure brighter future for our children is appreciated. We celebrate you and admire your tenacity to remain true to your calling despite the many challenges that you face on a daily basis. Thank you for your tireless efforts. It does not go unnoticed. I thank you. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you very much, ELRC, for that message. Good people, I asked him whether is the Gubanomkhulu phakathi kwakhe between him and the chairperson of the ELRC. He said no, for today, he is the one. So people who are going to come forward, don't be threatened by the laptop. If you don't have a laptop or an iPad, you can just use a phone. Even if you have just put your phone here and just have a jab on it and then speak from the heart, nobody is going to recognize that what you are saying is not on the phone. Thank you very much, ELRC. I'll now call upon Ms. Mastorp to read the message of support from the Department of Basic Education. A big round of applause for Ms. Mastorp. The acting DDG for Corporate Services.
Program Director, our Honorable MEC, HODs, clergy, our Honorable from our legislation, thank you so much for being here today. All our distinguished guests, and that is including our social partners, sponsors, and our district directors, the ones that are working so hard, and also our colleagues in the office. And the most important guest today are our awardees. So to all of you, molweni, goeiemorgen, good morning. The speech from DBE is a bit long, so I will try my best. Mr. Chokadi asked me not to summarize, but at least to give you the feeling in terms of how DBE is really looking at us as an Eastern Cape province. I just want to indicate I'm proudly Eastern Cape. When this province is sneezing, the whole country is catching it. From the Department of Basic Education, the Department of Basic Education is pleased to be able to share this special event with those who will be honored today at the MEC's special award ceremony. We are most grateful to the Eastern Cape Department of Education who have taken the baton to lead the way in terms of the requests from the Director General of the Department of Basic Education to ensure that teachers are recognized and appreciated through the Teachers Appreciation Support Program. The introduction of the Teachers Association Support Program in basic education sector, it is important as it sends a message that teachers are an important component in the sector, and these are the programs meant to support and appreciate the important role teachers are playing. The Teachers Association and Support Program was launched on the 31st of August 2015 by the Minister of Basic Education. One of the terms of references is to drive a year-long recognition of teachers. So it's a year-long, it's not a once-off event. To this end, DBE in 2023 drafted a program which is part of the wider recognition of teachers, including but not limited to the national department, but also provincial department, districts and schools. Therefore, this event is in line with the wider year-long DBE plans and mandate from the DG to the provincial education departments. In 1994, UNESCO, the International Labour Organization, declared the 5th of October as World Teachers' Day to commemorate the signing of UNESCO and the International Labour Organization recommendation of the status of teaching profession in 1966. The interpretation of the concept recognition of teachers should be wider and should not be limited to feel-good activities, like the observance of one day in October, but also to be holistic, year-long, and include areas that affect teachers as people and professionals. There's the increasing recognition that teachers will play a key role in preparing learners for the challenges of the future. We expect teachers to equip learners with skills, set and knowledge required for success in an increasing global, digital, complex, uncertain, and volatile world. We are valuing our teachers as the rising star, showing how we can support them to meet the new demands and encourage them with a new shift in teaching and learning. We need to create conditions to encourage and create an enable environment. They need to promote best practice, and this is what we're doing here today, through policies focusing on professionalism, efficiency, effectiveness in order to help build teachers' capacity and adopting new approaches. Attention must be paid to teachers' sense of well-being. I think it's an area that we really need to focus on. Our teachers have always worked in dire conditions and against all odds. They have been resilient, ensure that learners are focused, and to do all they are requiring from them. We have seen evidence that not only during COVID epidemic, but long before that, that our teachers has worked under extreme conditions. And we know that in our society currently, we are facing a large number of child-headed households, teenage pregnancies, gangsterism, bullying, floods, and a shortage of resources in our schools. But despite all this, teachers has really proven themselves and has shown their resilience. In addition, there has been changes, new projects, new curriculum, fourth industrial revolution requirements, teachers to adapt to the changing world. And amidst all this, they shouldn't just always manage, through this they don't always manage their own health. And they sacrifice for our learners. I think this is very evident when you go to the weekend, holiday, spring schools, winter schools, you always see teachers making those sacrifices. How do they do it? The question is really, how do they do it? Managing the challenging environment at the school, their own health and their own families. Excellence is never an accident. It is a result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, skillful execution, and the vision to see obstacles as opportunities. We are therefore here today to acknowledge that there is much we need to be grateful for. We need to appreciate their hard work, commitment, and dedication. How do they do all this and still be patient to teach? And we know the type of learner we are teaching at times, and all our learners are not at the same level. Some of them are having learning disabilities, which makes the environment very difficult for teachers to teach in. Once you have experienced excellence, you will never be content with mediocrity. To all our winners, thank you for showing learners excellence. They will never be content now with mediocrity. To our teachers out there that did not receive awards today, your reward is that you have changed lives and you have made them to become people of excellence. You have made a mark on a child, a community, on society in our beautiful country. And therefore, we cannot enough say thank you. Thank you to our educators.
A big round of applause for Ms. Marsdorp. Go sit, go sit. Because I'm observing something here. That the energy that I see is not comparable to the energy that I usually see when this event is held in the afternoon up to the evening. And the difference is also on the things that are on the table. And when this thing is held in the afternoon towards the evening, there are always bottles that are spilled. So I'm not sure whether people, their hopes are elevated because there is this sealed bottle and they are looking forward to the opening of the bottle. I don't know. But ndiyabona ukhona umbathalalana okhoyo uba isingathani ngobantu beti. Over to you, sir.
Wababiza bongu Noa, wabakeli nganawe, watimbulie. sabongu Noah wabakendi manawe watimfuni yeza bongena Noah Noah kena Noah kena Noah kena bongena Noah Wababisa Mungu Noah wabakendi manawe watimfulieza ongena Noah wababisa Mungu Noah wabakendi manawe watimfulieza ongena Noah
Yeah, a big round of applause for our artists. I can see in the Banabanya Sebe kule celebration yomhlobo wenene this coming weekend. Senbabon. I'll now request the Honorable Deputy Speaker to come forward and give us the message of support on behalf of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature. I don't want to say upward delegation, but they agreed, members, oyena muntu omkhulu khoyo from the legislature, nguye, ba outsource again, ba outsource lapha kuye. A big round of applause for Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, facilitator of the program, who is also the Deputy Director General in the Office of the Premier, Honorable MEC Gade, Honorable Saziwa, the Chair of the Education Portfolio Committee, Honorable Wezwetikane from the legislature, the Acting Superintendent General, Dr. Nuku, Bishop Professor Nchingwa and Bishop Mbete, Sabulela Baupele. Kukwamazwi ihlubi athi umhlaba owomileyo uyazinzulisa ingcambu. I'm therefore privileged on behalf of the legislature delegation to take this opportunity to nudge my humble appreciation of the honor extended to us as the legislature by the Honorable MEC. Indeed, Honorable MEC, if you don't secure your roots, you can never have fruits and harvest on the top hillside. One scholar once said, no matter how hard the moment is today, I think we have given us brave face to smile as this event confirms further that you and your teachers understand the task at hand. Indeed, congratulations for this great work. Bakhona abantu abathi xa behamba, let me repeat this to you. Kukhunjulwe into kokuba kukho vacancy eyacreateka bakuhamba. But bakhona abantu abathi xa behambile kushiyeke kukho legacy behind them. When you leave perhaps this department, we shall forever emulate and remember the good deeds and acts that we have managed to bequeath us as the generation after us. Anything that goes bad in the teaching industry, my honored guests, where was the teacher? And then by extension, where was Sato or Naptosa is the question. However, when a product in a form of a medical doctor, an engineer, a pharmacist, a pilot, a chief operations officer, a politician graduate, thanksgiving goes to a person himself or herself. Zakuba ntle izinto kwelo candelo qale kunconya into kokuba izelwe indodana. Program Director Award is one of the most important motivational tools used to keep the spirit of education and training of students at the sky. Hence, I am congratulating you today. Indeed, you are the garden of all colors, security against all odds, back pushers of frontiers of ignorance in this country. And it is high time to reflect on a positive attitude towards you, since there is no president or COO without you as teachers. A vanguard movement in epistology space through your wheels and chains, which are the teachers. You are not alone in the painstaking question of national interest. Indeed, we need to change the neoliberal knowledge into indigenous knowledge as part of Ubuntu and Africanness. Such must be infused on our MEC in our education system. Zikhona engineers kodwa zashota ngobuntu. Izinto sezisezandleni zethu. Even if you are not recognized, but the product speaks for itself. Together we can move stones on the top of the mountain, so said Kofi Annan. Only the open mind that gets real wisdom. Only the open hands that gets the real gifts. Only the open heart that get the real love gifts. You are the salt of this province. May God continue to give you strength and wisdom. Thank you very much.
A very big round of applause for the Deputy Speaker for the wonderful message. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, for your message. I'll now request artists to Pagamisum Umphathiswa asinike intetho yosuku. Wena watsho kalayita ne-TV xa kuzathetha umphathiswa.
lobubusiswa utena mandicele wenu zondenzela ubuye ovandiyacela lelilanga lelami lobubusiswa utena mandicele wenu zondenzela ubuye ovandiyacela ndicela ukuhlakanipha ufunikondo yami ndicela ukuphumelela ubesundipane ntonipho ndicela ukuhlakanipha ufunikondo yami ndicela ukuphumelela ubesundipane ntonipho ndisenzile isinqumo ndathi ndoba nawe njengokusho kwakho incwadi nengcwele ubuye ovangiyacela ndisenzile isinqumo ndathi ndoba nawe njengokusho kwakho incwadi nengcwele ubuye ovangiyacela ndicela ukuhlakanipha ufunikondo yami ndicela ukuphumelela ubesundipane ntonipho ndicela ukuhlakanipha ufunikondo yami ndicela ukuphumelela ubesundipane ntonipho ndicela ukuhlakanipha ufunikondo yami ndicela ukuphumelela ubesundipane ntonipho ubesundipane ntonipho ubesundipane ntonipho ubesundipane ntonipho ubesundipane ntonipho.
Thank you very much for that rendition. I'll now request the Honorable MEC to come forward and give us the keynote address.
My apologies, Program Director, for a bit taken some few minutes to think whether must I be on a lighter position. Kuba ndingangabonakali kuvuwe njengelizwi uba kukho umuntu pha. Program Director Hlubi mandibulisa apha kuwe kuqala ndibulele futhi nangokuvuka this great moment which will be written in the archives of the province, and also appreciate that you were one of the key strategic people that were engaging on this discussion earlier on. We initiated le concept sisobabini Hlubi. Kwathi ke ngenxa yobude bendlela sabe ke siyohlukana. Kodwa siphinde salapha sobabini still engaging on the same concept. Anduzuthula kuyangixolela ndenze ngathi akukho nto ikhona. Mandibulele kuwe ngalonto Hlubi. Bishop Mbethe no Bishop Ntshingwa, we want to appreciate your presence here. Part of the history and the evolution of this sector constitute how the institutions you lead give moral compass and standing in the society that we are. We always enjoy wisdom out of your presence and encouraging words to clarify the unclarified issues. The members of the legislature, led by Speaker Mtungwa, Mcoboti now Mapulangwa. The Eastern Cape is richer with you. You may have taken it a bit lighter, that we have stopped everything. Today, in terms of the calendar of the legislature, you are supposed to be in the monetary bill, if I'm not mistaken. But you stopped that critical program and came here, not as guests, but as part of the leadership of this province. Because leadership is not an entitlement, nor a position that one holds, but leadership is a function. You don't need a conference to provide leadership. You need clarity of purpose to provide leadership. We can go to conferences and win conferences, but still not be leaders. That's a debate for another day. Mandibulise kwaba bantu benze kuba kube kuhle kube nje namhlanje apha. When the president of this country, then President Nelson Mandela, initiated the public-private partnership concept, some of us were glued on the dogma of our ideological clarity. And of course, thinking that this president think it will be easier for the capital to exchange the profit margins with the vulnerable and the poor people of this country. And ever since that concept of the public-private partnership was initiated by that president at that time, you have demonstrated that there has never been any government in the world that have succeeded, nor going to succeed at any time without the private investment within the public sector itself. So there is a core relationship and dialectic relationship between private and public. So your collaboration and willingness to contribute to the people of this province cannot be raised under carpets. Namhlanje sizonikezela imoto ezinhlanu apha. Sizonikezela Bishop Mbethe imoto ezinhlanu apha khona esenti kahulumente pha. Ndithi mandiyithethe kuba not everybody would have accepted to do what you have done. And not everyone would have preferred to usurp the opportunity given by you for the benefit of the people of this province. Singabantu, Bishop Nchingwa, sisenyameni, sisemhlabeni. Ibingalahlekanga into yobana lo uthethayo bekunodityana nezamoto zonhlanu zisecolosa. Why? Because ukwazi luthetha nabantu bazisimoto. Angaziboni sifanelekile zize zabantu. Azibone sifanele yena nefamily yakhe. But we chose not to do that. Just to send a serious political message, chairperson of the committee, that we can fundraise for the poor and the marginalized. And government can benefit out of that particular process. The leadership of the formations we have across the unions within the sector, we greet you, comrades. When we said in 1988, let's build a government of a human face, that never suggested that there was no government before. But the critical question was whether that government does have a human face or not at that time. And I'm then saying, it is within your leadership that has made us to be where we are. You have put the glue between the social formations that by design must be able to propel the changes necessitated by people on the ground. And without you having done so, we wouldn't be here. The stability that we enjoy in the sector, in the province, is not an accident of history. Came with a serious price of insults that you enjoy from your own membership, that sometimes you enjoy from the public, that sometimes you enjoy from the people that don't know even what it means to be an educationist. The Minister, HOD, Dr. Nuku, in the CEM of Cape Town last week, addressing la CEM ayikhokhelayo, uthi umama uNG, kade le sector yabantu bothukwa. Isector le noba sawungena eVincent eMall. La muntu uphethe itroli une-opinion ngale department. Lo kuphethele itroli ukulayishele le mpahla have got serious opinions about this department. So from time to time you must just be prepared sometimes to have thicker skins. Not because there is anything wrong, but people will always want to associate themselves with a success. Nditsho ke kuni butishara nale top management ikhokhelela sebeleni, that if you have not been insulted yesterday and not been insulted today, you don't belong here. Because this is a sector that from time to time public will have interest on it. At times for right or for wrong reasons. So you must be prepared to be subjected into the public scrutiny in one way or another. Bawo majola ndikubonile apha. And I must appreciate that you are here. One lesson that program director we must learn and probably find a way of institutionalizing it is the ability of the NGOs in opening up the eyes for government. And how do we then usurp that skill in the best interest of everybody and best interest of every citizen in the country? I was once privileged engaging the Premier of this province. Ndithi kuye, Mr. Kwase, uyambona na urhulumente esimkhokhelayo bejula uba umamela kumajolo? Every now and then, you are always where the people are. You are always opening up the eyes of government. And you are always making sure that things that the system do not unearth, it is going to be unearthed by you. That's the character of a public participatory government. Isystem kaloku iyakwazi uzifihla into zayo. Kunjanje ibe sensitive xa zivezwa. Iyakwazi futhi noxabana nabantu abayichazayo iba injani isystem. Because it's defensive in character. So that's why I'm saying all of us, it's not about how much have we done only, but it's about how much have we learned from each of us. The media houses that have been invited here sometimes take us awkward questions. Mr. Jack, you feel that this question should have not been asked. But because you are a public servant, you ought to answer a question. Continue to expose us on the blind spots that we must look into. Precisely because the democratic dispensation that we agreed on will never succeed without you as media houses. I said to you earlier on, state is an organ of class oppression. It depends which class is dominant at that particular time. I call obvious that because you think that you represent a particular thinking, you are going to achieve the objectives that we have set for ourselves. You will have to fight for them. Bendisithi nje mandiqale kuloo nto Ntusi, in appreciating everybody that has been invited here. And people have already spoken, thanking you as educators, thanking all of us as people that are within the sector, starting from the person ochayelayo kule department to the last person of this department. Ngale mizuzwana nje imbalwa ndifuna ukuthi ke from here now, where must we go? We have been called to align our strategic thinking to the National Development Plan of 2030. And part of that is to ensure the access of learners into the system itself. But before it will be imperative that we also note Uprare used to say, Mr. Tjokatike, kuba uformal namhlanje unxibe neqhina. Used to say, learner performance system is symptomatic of either a failure or a success of a system. So when you speak of learner performance, you are then patching the system itself. Whether is it generating the output that you'd want to see. And hence I'm then saying, it's going to be important for all of us to note that at all material times, whenever there are challenges that we are confronted with, a crisis situation will always present an opportunity. Either to open up your eyes or to look into issues as defined in the same engagements that we are engaged on like today. I am not intending to waste much of your time for speeches today, but I just wanted to say, colleagues, the department has consulted a number of stakeholders, including the business, for us to be where we are today, such that we can appreciate the performance of the educators and the system that we have adopted for the past 4 years. Ngamanye amagama sifuna ukuthi iyamaturisha ngoku le system yethu, is giving us, yielding the fruit we ought to get. But critically to that is the discussion, my apologies, HOD, I didn't brief you on this one. Is the discussion that we have in Pietermaritzburg on Friday with the Deputy President. of this country, on the HRD Council. Critical to the discussion on Friday of the HRD Council of this country was the standardization and the ranking of the marking process, Mr. Mabon. And the then Vice Chancellor of UCT was presenting the ratings of maths and science in the country in the context of the production of educators. And key to that question was whether if the country has got 50% passing mark on mathematics, and therefore a sizable percentage of maths teachers in the country are between 50 and 60 in terms of their passing mark when they graduate. And the question was then, how do you then expect them to get the 40% that they didn't get in the lecture room for the kids? Ubabona bapasa ngo 50 to 60 in maths. Lo 40% bangamenzanga uzovela njani kwaba bantwana? Ingaba lo 40% akanguye lo bangela ba le maths ibe ikule ndawo ikuyo in the entire country. A very serious and uncomforting question that was raised on Friday by the Deputy President and the discussion that we have. And I'm then saying it's a matter that we probably have to look into, all of us, as a nation in general, without tampering with the standards that have been set by SACA. But how do you then engineer a discussion that is competitive enough so that every faculty we have, there is an appreciation of a production of quality within whatever that we do? And that must be aligned between the mandate of the basic education and the mandate of the higher education, to be precise. Waphenduleka ke lo mbuzo nisoloko ndiwubuza Hlobi uthi, why must we have 100% pass rate in grade 12? Hayi mandiuphinde nalapha. Why must we have 100% pass rate as basic education if Department of Higher Education does not appreciate that it is in a stalemate? Upasa kwabo bazaphuma bathina babantwana nibapreparishayo. Because higher education must be able to purge itself as well. That production that is done there must be accommodated here. Kungenjalongo, the country is going to be in a deeper crisis of producing grade 12 learners that cannot go anywhere. Why? Because universities have not moved in terms of infrastructure development to accommodate the throughput of basic education. Hayi mandenze nje umzekelo. Mandenze nje umzekelo ndizohlala phansi. Kulonyaka kupheleyo kupase abantwana apha Eastern Cape abayi 63,000 plus mabona. 63,000 plus, right? But zoyi-4 as universities zalapha Eastern Cape, i-capacity yazo ayigqithi ku-40,000. That's where I am. Zoyi-4, including the TVET colleges you have, their capacity doesn't surpass 40,000. But the production we have was 63,000. Somebody must up the game. Somebody must up the game in terms of thinking quicker. Because you are not going to continue to produce these numbers without certainty where they are going to be traced and learned. So hence I'm saying it's going to be important that singaba discourage abatishala ngobana ba produce results abantwana babantu bayohlala ecalkotango. It's going to be a demotivation of the worst kind. Namhlanje, Program Director, without wasting much of your time, we are going to award 24 schools and 29 teachers, if I'm not mistaken. Everyone that has been invited here as a participant is going to get the followings. 1, the trophy next to me, certificates next to me, the cash vouchers of 5,000 each, the laptops, the Chromebooks, the tablets, the power banks, and tumblers. So wonke umuntu ofumene invitation here as a beneficiary of the Teachers Award program is going to get all of that package. But on top of that, Chair, on top of that, because of the assistance of the business sector, we had a lengthy discussion with them, with the HOD then Mr. Kwase, and the current HOD now, Dr. Nuku, that let's make a groundbreaker here. Let's intervene on the rural schooling system. Because 70% of the population of education, either in the context of learners in this country, is coming from quintile 1 to 3. So when you speak about the schooling system of this country, you must understand what you are talking about. Because in terms of the numerical strength, is quintile 1 to 3, 70% of it. So in essence, it means you have got a schooling system that is predominantly coming from the destitute families. Because quintile 5 and quintile 4 are classified and categorized as those quintiles that are coming from the middle class, so to speak. So we then said, noba kwenzeka ntoni, we must have each quintile receiving each own car. So that you don't make quintile 1 competing with quintile 5. Ila ntibithethwa apha kuprof uJadezweni. That will be an unfair competitiveness. Quintile 1s must compete themselves. Quintile 2s must compete themselves. Quintile 3s must compete within themselves. And hence we have got 5 cars. Sathi ke ukwenzela bingabi ngathi sithetha singabantu mose kuthiwa sithetha ngekati esengxoweni. Masizise at least for demonstrations beyi-2 zibe lapha phandle ukwenzela ba xa kugqityiwe ukusayinelwa kwenziwe transfer of ownership and all that by the legal team and those individuals that are proxy to the schools and proxy to the car can do that. bakwazi ukufota bathini nemoto zabo. But le team ibipreparisha apha iye yandicela baze ndiyithethe lento yeHOD. Uba eza moto colleagues zimoto ekufuneka zinganixabanisanga istaff room. Zimoto ekufuneka zinincedisile kulomsebenzi seniuqalile. Zinga create tension in staff room. Zinga create an environment where kuzothi bekune stability singabikho ngenxa yayo la moto. Okugqibela sathi xa nizosayiniswa ngexesha elifanelekileyo kwezimoto nizawucelwa kule nto ilandelayo. Uba le moto ingathengiseki for a period of some time. Because if you allow these individuals that are going to get these cars, xa zine problems zazo, to sell these cars, it means there is no need of this thing next year. There is absolutely no need. We can't go back to them and say we must have an annual program of this nature even next year and say they must fund where they are possible to be able to do that. Ngabantu that mhlawumbi kuphela 6 months seyithengisile imoto. It can't be. So I'm saying there is that discussion that is going to unfold between the beneficiaries and the legal team of the department, just to secure the property to the individual and the school itself. And the school itself. Ndihlala phansi ke ngelithi ke program director. Okungenani masihambe siyopreparishela abantwana babantu. But note the following. Note the following. In the history of this country, we never had the grade 12s we have now. We never had this kind of grade 12s we have now. The grade 12s you have are different from the previous grade 12s. Njani. The ones that we are preparing now are a product of trimmed curriculum, are a product of controlled tests. They have never seen an examination environment. So before you talk about the content of a paper, you need to deal with them tactically. Whether are they going to contend with the pressure of the examination room? Because zange bayibona ever since 2019. So there is more work to be done on the current grade 12s, both in terms of the philosophy of this sector, also in terms of the content of what is expected out of them, and lastly, in terms of psychological fitness for the environment that is going to be new. That's the reason we took a decision to say they must write examinations in June. They must write examinations in June so that they don't see examinations for the first time in December. They must not. Because the problem onganayo pha ayiko kungazi kwabantwana si stage fright. Si stage fright. So hence I'm then saying let's prepare them. Let's move around and ensure that we motivate them. By the way, program director, we have promised the people of the province 80% and above. And that 80% we are going to achieve it. In fact, without making a halupalu about this, we have already achieved it, by the way. The current first quarter results of this province is 80.9. The first quarter. The current results of the first quarter is 80.9. So how do we then sustain the momentum? It's another debate for another day, but I'm then saying it's a matter that we are looking very closely and we are promising that we are going to achieve it. Thanks for your time, Program Director. Enkosi kakhulu.
A very big round of applause for the Honorable MEC. Nkosi kakhulu Mphathiswa. I'm sure the top management as well as the district directors I'm sure the top management as well as the district directors have noted, the substantive issues that the MEC is raising that require our attention. The members of the Eastern Cape Education Advisory Council, I think they are taking note of these issues, these policy issues that we need to further engage and come up with solutions to. Singahlali ke kwi-analysis unaphakade. I know that we are always blamed as the Eastern Cape. Kutwa sine syndrome called policy analysis paralysis. See, chovi analysis ye policy thina sibe paralyzed singabisahamba kwalo ndawo. Sihlala apha. Siphethe analysis. We must move beyond that. Let's engage on these substantive issues that the MEC is raising. According to the program, it is a presentation of awards. But you've been seated like this for quite some time. And he has and this is more Shana because majority of the people that are here are educators and former educators. So educators, they tend to behave like their students at some point, given a chance. I know I can break when for 5 minutes, spend a settle whilst the team is arranging kakuhle into zethu apha kungonakala kodwa ke ngihalela lo. I'll request the artist to just rejuvenate us and prepare us for la nedla ngothethwa ngabefundisi ba bebulelela ukutya okuseza utyiwa sintsho ba kuseza bakho bekubulela kungekatyiwa khakanisithi into zakuthi
Ndakhangela, ndasondela, lalisitsho, lisithi, tili, 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 kilo, kilo, amnandi lonjolo. Devil is sweet, well, oh, the Lord. Dakangela, dasotela, lalisitsho, lisiti. Ingubo ezidobe, bambethe ingubo ezidobe, abesitsho besithi tili, 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 kilo, kilo, yamnandi lonjolo. Bambembethe ingubo ezidobe, bambembethe ingubo ezidobe, babesitsho besithi tili, 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 kilo, kilo, yamnandi lonjolo. Kilo, kilo, yamnandi lonjolo. Kilo, yamnandi lonjolo. mtwanami kuyabongwa kubongo mncane bongo mkhulu TK mtwanami kuyabongwa kubongo mncane bongo mkhulu.
A big round of applause for our artists. Ladies and gentlemen, can we request people to come in so that we can proceed with our program? Ndiyabona phana kuthathwa iselfie kuyafotwa apha phandle kodwa akagqitywa. Can you request all the people that are outside to come in? Xa kunekho kwala top management ke ngokuthi wani akho kwa aba bafana balapha top management le ke ngoku. District directors azikho ziphume neetishala zazo. There are only 3. Mr. Gogonzola, where are your educators? Why do you come in without your educators that are living outside? We can't start with people that are still outside. Ladies and gentlemen, can we all settle down? We are now going to get to the awards. I'll request the Honorable MEC and Honorable Saziwa to come forward. Where do they stand? Up on it? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to get to the first category. This category is awarding best performance to individual educators who have excelled in their subjects. So this category covers all the subjects. In each subject, we'll be awarding 2 people. The best performing educator per subject from quintile 1 to quintile 3. And best performing educator in that subject from quintile 4 to quintile 5. So hence I'm saying there are 2 people per subject. Then we'll come to another category of languages. It's a separate category. And then we deal with other categories as we move down. This category will be given a certificate, a trophy, a tablet, power bank, a tumbler, promotional material, and 5,000 rands cash voucher. Well, it can't be done that. Ngicela ningayicomparishi le cash voucher ne challenges zakho zabantwana basesikolweni. Akufuna bebhatalwe fees. Ungacomparishi lento ne fees. Ayinanto nakwenza na fees. I'll now proceed to the best performing teacher in accounting. Quintile 1 to 3. This is the overall best performing educator in quintile 1 to quintile 3, provincial. That educator got 100% pass rate with 56 learners that were doing accounting. The district is Buffalo City Metro, Ulwas High School. Miss Kopolo Lungiswa. Miss Kopolo Lungiswa. A big round of applause for Miss Kopolo Lungiswa. Open Miss Kopolo. Uzengapha mama. Kanimbetheleni izandla bethuna. Angomdilili. The second educator in accounting for quintile 4 and 5 in accounting. He had 100% in accounting. It's 21 learners. Nelson Mandela Metro. That's Pearson High School. Miss Surratt Low. Miss Surratt Low. There she comes. A big round of applause for Surratt. Abantu abafotayo ke maba. We are now going to proceed to agricultural science. We are now proceeding to agricultural science. Quintile 1 to 3. The top performing educator in quintile 1 to 3 had 113 learners, pass rate 98.2%. Alfred Nzowest, Ngangelizwe Senior Secondary, Miss Pakade Nosisi. Big round of applause for Ms. Pakade. What time, bullet? You put on the wrong one. I think colleagues from exams are being corrected. Here is Ngangelizwe Senior Secondary, OR Tambo Inland. Akompas amabentwini uMiss Pakade ngowase Ngangelizwe wase Inland. The best performing educator, agricultural science. Order, honorable member. Honorable Saziwa is saying that all the awardees must not take this thing to the bank. The best educator in agricultural sciences for quintile 4 to 5. 81 learners, 91% pass rate, OR Tambo Inlet. Singisa Comprehensive. Mrs. Nombeu, Kai, Gloria. Miss Gloria Nombeu Kai. A big round of applause. studies. The best performing educator in business studies, quintile 1 to 3. Buffalo City again. 61 learners, 100%. From Ulwas High School. Lunga Dlamini, Mr. Lunga Dlamini. A big round of applause for Lunga Dlamini. A big round of applause. Xa enonxiba iyuniform ungangaqiniseki. Anditsho uba kutheni. I'm not going to reveal the strategies come Mr. Makalima, who is the principal of Ulwas. Here. Business studies, best educator, quintile 4 and 5. 100% pass rate, 24 learners. Nelson Mandela Metro. Western High School. Mrs. Tunet Haka. A big round of applause for Tunet Haka. Where is she? The district director is going to take the award on her behalf. Okay. Best economics educator, quintile 1 to 3, 124 learners, 95%, Alfred Nzo West, Makaula Senior Secondary School, Miss Bongile Dlamini. Miss Bongile Dlamini, a big round of applause. Best performing educator, economics, quintile 4 to 5. Quintile 4 to 5, economics, 35 learners, Mr. Chagati. (35 learners, 91%. OR Tambo Inland, Zingisa comprehensive. Sakums Putel. Best performing educator, geography. Best performing educator, geography, quintile 1 to 3. Man, kalo sanu diabona manu omishile ngopho. Kanda ningafiki apha eBuffalo Park. Asikose Buffalo Park. The best educator, geography, quintile 1 to 3. 125 learners, 98%. OR Tambo Inland. Holy Cross Senior Secondary. Martha, Tebo, Magaga, Mrs. A big round of applause. Geography, quintile 4 to 5. Best educator. 47 learners, 98%. OR Tambo Inland. Zingisa comprehensive. Kwandiwe Lusasa. Miss Kwandiwe Lusasa. History, quintile 1 to 3. Yeah, I said to Mabu. It's a rural school. High enrollment rural school. 96 learners, 98% pass rate. OR Tambo Inland. Menziwa Senior Secondary School. Ayanda Ngese, Miss Ayanda Ngese. Kuhanjwa ngeguru kwento zakuthi xa kusiwa kwesa sikolo. It's a far-flung school. Bendibela, eMthatha. Liguru zodwa zihamba pha kwandame hamba pha. The best history teacher, quintile 4 to 5. 70 learners, 96%. Buffalo City, Greenpoint Secondary School, Mrs. Rail Vada. Mrs. Rail Vada. A big round of applause for Mrs. Vada. Life Sciences, Best Educator, Life Sciences, quintile 1 to 3. $97 learners, 100%. OR Tambo Coastal. Toli, Senior Secondary School. Lutando Tracy. Mr. Lutando Tracy. Life Sciences, quintile 4 to 5. 111 learners, 96%. OR Tambo Inland. St. John's College. Miss Brenda Madigizel. Miss Brenda Madigizel. The best educator, mathematical literacy, quintile 1 to 3. 118 learners, 92%. 118 learners, 92%. OR Tambo Coastal. Hillbrow Senior Secondary School. Miss Ntombez Banzi Albertina Zuma. Where's Ntombe Banzi? There she comes. A big round of applause for Ms. Zuma. A big round of applause for Ms. Zuma. Mathematical literacy, quintile 4 to 5. The best educator with 96 learners, 97%. Nelson Mandela Metro. Newton Heights Senior Secondary School, Mr. Ridian Adams. Mr. Ridian Adams. A big round of applause for Mr. Adams. Mathematics. Mathematics, that's pure mathematics. Quintile 1 to 3. Number of learners, 68. 100% pass rate. Nelson Mandela Metro. Sotkhaisa Senior Secondary. Songezo Matanda. Mr. Songezo Matanda. Struggle and one. Struggle and one. Mathematics, quintile 4 to 5. The best educator with 25 learners, 100%. Nelson Mandela Metro, Pearson High School. Nadine Joshua, Mrs. Nadine Joshua. Physical sciences, quintile 1 to 3. The best performing educator, 117 learners, 93%. Our Tambo Coastal, Toli Senior Secondary School, Mr. Gabriel Kuate. Mr. Gabriel Kuate. A big round of applause for Mr. Kuate. Physical science, quintile 4 to 5. Quintile 4 to 5, physical science. 35 learners, 97% pass rate. Nelson Mandela Metro, Pearson High School. Mrs. Numandi Marais. Mrs. Numandi Marais. A big round of applause for Mrs. Marais. Technical mathematics, quintile 1 to 3. 84 learners, 92% pass rate. Alfred Nzo East. Vulindlela Comprehensive Technical High School. Miss Nomashia, Significance Tole. A big round of applause for Ms. Tole. Yeah, yeah. Technical mathematics, quintile 4 to 5, 38 learners, 100% pass rate. Nelson Mandela Metro, Newton Technical High School. Mrs. Andrea Zili. Mrs. Andrea Zili. A big round of applause for Mrs. Zili. A big round of applause for Mrs. Zili. On technical sciences, quintile 1 to 3. 61 learners, 100% pass rate. Amatole East, Elliotdale, Technical High School. Miss Mlonyeni, Zizo. Miss Mink, Zizo Mlonyeni. Technical Sciences. Asimbetheleni izandla Miss Zizo. Technical Sciences, Quintal 1, Quintal 4 to 5. 19 learners, 100% pass rate. Nelson Mandela Metro, Newton Technical High School, Mrs. Lara Pretorius. Mrs. Lara Pretorius. A big round of applause for Mrs. Lara Pretorius. Going to get into another category. Languages. In a certificate, in a trophy, in a Chromebook, power bank, promotional material, 5,000 cash voucher. I'll request Honorable Saziwa to go and rest and request Umamu Natsibuyebu. We are going to meeting. Thank you very much, Honorable Saziwa, for agreeing to proceed. The best performing teacher, Aina Quintals. The best language teacher in the province, full stop. Afrikaans, home language. 47 learners, 100% pass rate, Nelson Mandela Metro. Howard School, Framsbay. Framsbay, Howard School. Mrs. Rihanna Stoltz. A big round of applause for Mrs. Rihanna Stoltz. Best performing educator, English, home language. 43 learners, 98% pass rate, Nelson Mandela Metro, Alexander Road High School. Miss Janine Long. A big round of applause for Janine Long.
Kauleza, Sondela Standa, Nambo Meditala Tala, Tifuna Wina Wit, Nambo Meditala Tala, Tifuna Wina Wit, Vala Standa, Valu Tango, Kutalandi Kobele, Tatidoya.
It's a Xhosa home language. It's Xhosa home language. This one is carrying numbers. Petty numbers, petty quality. 302 learners. 100%. Our Tambo inland. Menziwa Senior Secondary School. Nobuntu Nugget. Nobuntu Nugget. Wamba ngeguruguru madoda. Hayi kodwa ngibheka esikolweni. Home language. Sesotho home language, 100 learners, 99%. Jogab, Kanya Senior Secondary School. Tsonyana Mapeleba. Mr. Tsonyana Mapeleba. A big round of applause for Mr. Mapeleba. South African Sign Language. South African Sign Language, home language. 10 learners, 80% pass rate. Sign language. 10 learners, 80% pass rate. Buffalo City, St. Thomas Special School. Noluthando Daniel. Imake mam wazinyukela ungekabizwa nobizwa.
Tata nansi inhliziyo yami, tata nanjalo lolo, tata nansi inhliziyo yami, zuyiphathe njengekhanda,
I'll now release Honorable Saziwa and request Honorable Koboshiane to join us, to join the MEC. And yazi ke MEC noba ihlangu zakho azisichangana uba zitsha siza kuchutshisa apha ezantsi. Okay. Khake ningeneni madoda. Khake nisithi. Sangena kwenye category. applause for our artists. We are now awarding the best performance of schools. We'll start with the category that is sometimes, I don't want to say neglected, but it's overlooked. But this is where things start, the GET. We have 6 out of this category, 3 for the historically disadvantaged institutions, number 3, number 2, number 1. And the overall, number 3, 2, and 1, under GET. Where do these best performers come from? If you ask some of these high schools, best performing high schools, they'll tell you that their best kids that end up in the provincial awards and in the minister's award, they come from that particular junior secondary school or that primary school, consistently. So that's what we want to work on now. I think the department is also looking at conducting a study on those best practices of the GET, so that we can spread that to all other junior secondary or primary schools, so that we get this cream affecting our performance at high school level. So we're at GET. Number 3 of the historically disadvantaged institutions is OR Tambo Inland. Mzimvubu Primary School. A big round of applause from Zimvubu Primary School. Bafumana certificate, trophy, laptop, yesikolo, promotional material. Number 2, position 2, HDI. Those that laid the foundation. OR Tambo Inland. H2 Primary School. H2 Primary School. Where's H2? Mrs. Makwad, where's H2? Oh. A big round of applause for H2 Primary.